Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I'm here to do the Bookternet All-Star Charity Challenge. This is a challenge that was created by Rachel Marie, and I will link her original video down below, and it's all about BookTube coming together and talking about some real popular books and authors and series on BookTube, whether or not you've read them and enjoyed them. And by participating in this challenge, whether that is through a video or a blog post or Twitter or anything like that, Rachel Marie is donating €1 for every person who submits, up to €75 to a COVID-19 charity. I will also link that information down below, and I think what I'm going to do, if you guys have been watching my book hauls, you know that I'm inspired by my friend Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly, and I've started doing like a charity aspect to that, where for every book I buy, I donate at least $1 to a charity in need. So I think for my May book haul, and possibly June, depending on how many books I get, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose this charity in order to combine that with the Bookternet All-Stars Charity Challenge. So again, all the information will be in the description. I have the graphic pulled up here, and there's a lot of authors and books and series on this list I'm excited to talk about. You know, this video might combine like unpopular opinions and also giving money to charity, so like what's not to love about that? Not all of these opinions are going to be unpopular, but I'm just a little nervous. So here we go. Some of them are authors pictured and some of them are particular books or series. So if I have things to say about other books that the authors wrote, then I'll probably talk about those too. You'll see. So the first one is Angie Thomas, and I actually haven't read either of her books yet, which are On the Come Up and The Hate U Give. I really do want to read them. It is going to happen hopefully soon. I also keep waiting for them to release a US paperback of The Hate U Give, and like they haven't. It's been a few years and they still haven't done it. So maybe I'll just end up buying the UK paperback. Or I mean, obviously if they never release a US paperback, I'm just going to buy the book in hardcover and read it anyway, because I do definitely want to get to her books. Next is Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. So I read the original trilogy and I liked them enough. Like, I enjoyed participating in like understanding the hype and everything. And I do think Ignite Me was the best of the three. And I am interested in continuing the series at some point, probably. But I think where Tahara Mafi really shines is her middle grade books, which are Furthermore and Witchwood. I can see why they don't work for everyone. They're like very whimsical, very kind of, not chaotic, but like there's not like a strict magic system, which I know a lot of people are not a fan of that. So I can see why people don't love them, but I love them. And I keep checking Goodreads and hoping that she's going to write another one in that companion series. So far, nothing. Next is Leigh Bardugo, and here's where we get into the unpopular opinions, because you guys probably know if you've been following my videos for a while, but I have not liked anything that Leigh Bardugo has written. I have read the whole Grisha trilogy and Six of Crows, and I just don't like her books. I think she's really good at writing side characters. That's something I have enjoyed, but I was just super disappointed in her world building and the plots of her books and her main characters especially. I find Alina to be such an insufferable main character. And even in Six of Crows, which I know everyone says is way better, I was also really disappointed in that one. I didn't care about the heist plot. I didn't really like any of the characters. Well, that's not true. Okay, I liked, was it Wylan or Jesper? And I liked Nina. They were cool. I am still gonna try King of Scars though, because King of Scars is about the only 4 characters in the entire Grisha world that I care about at all. That is Nikolai, Zoya, Nina, and Genya? I think Genya's in that one too. So yeah, I'm gonna try King of Scars, but if that doesn't work for me, I think I'm just gonna give up, because clearly, like, Leigh Bardugo and I just do not vibe. Next is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I love these books. I am trash for these books, and I say that not because I think like you need to be embarrassed about enjoying these books, but because this is one of those series where there are a lot of things that should make me not like it, and I just love them anyway. I still need to read Queen of Nothing though, because I am the worst. Next is The Bone Witch by Rin Chipeko. I actually bought this one kind of recently, like a few months ago. I have not read it yet. I'm really excited to though. Like, I just have a good feeling about that one. Like, I've heard really good things about it from people, for one thing. But I also just feel like it's going to be one of those books where even though certain tropes are not my favorite, like the necromancy thing, and I think it's dual timeline, which is also something I have a hard time with a lot of times, but I just feel like I'm going to like that series for some reason. Next is Victoria Schwab, and other unpopular opinion time. I don't really like her stuff that much. Although it's weird because I have read This Savage Song and The Archived, and I actually really enjoyed both of them at the time, but I have just felt absolutely no interest in continuing either of those series. I just don't feel the pull to read any of her other books either. I do still own Vicious, so I am going to try that at some point, but I actually recently pulled all of the other Victoria Schwab books, or V.E. Schwab books, off my shelf to unhaul them at some point, because I just don't think her characters and her writing is for me. And also, this is not related to the book thing, but her social media presence also kind of puts me off. Like, not all of it, but like some of the things she tweets just like rub me the wrong way. Like just as one example of this, I remember like a year ago or so, she started this trend where she was like, what's one thing in books that is usually a turnoff for you, or that like is very popular but you just don't like it and you're very hard to please, or something like that. And for her, that was fairy tale retellings. She says like they're really overdone, and like, you know, there are authors who can do them well, but it's just something that she's very picky about. And of course I love fairy tale retellings, but like I read that and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I know a lot of people are sick of that trend. And then I think like a few days later or something, she announced her next project coming up. I don't know if it had gotten a book deal or if she was just working on it, but guess what it is? It's a fairy tale retelling. And I just found that kind of tacky and a little presumptuous, like, oh, most authors can't pull this off, but I can, so you're welcome. And yeah, like if I had loved her books, that probably wouldn't have bothered me, but because of the fact that I already didn't like them, I was a little bit like put off by that. I'm like, all your female main characters are the exact same people, but you're acting like you can do things that no other author can do? Like, okay. By the way, like, no offense if you like Victoria Schwab, I know a lot of people love her. I just, again, don't get on with her books, or especially her characters. Next is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is an unpopular opinion in the other direction because I feel like Marissa Meyer is starting to fall out of favor a little bit. I hear a lot of people talking about how overhyped her books are. I understand. I love them very deeply. I love the Lunar Chronicles. I actually recently bought the like beautiful new paperback editions because it's one of my favorite series. And yeah, it's like, again, I love fairy tale retellings. This is one of the series that got me into sci-fi a little bit, and also that made me realize I love fairy tale retellings. And yeah, I love her characters. I also think her writing just really works for me. It's not anything fancy or flowery, but she's got a good grasp, I think, on dialogue and on character interactions and on giving the reader a clear picture of what's going on without like hitting you over the head with it. I also really loved Heartless, which I know that one gets a lot of bad press, and I do want to read her Renegades books, which I don't like superhero stories at all, but I trust Marissa Meyer to do one that I love. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Marissa Meyer. Next is Adam Silveira. I have only read one book from him, which is They Both Die at the End, which I did really like. It broke my heart, even though I knew it was coming. And he's another author where like, I enjoyed that book, but I just haven't felt the drive to pick up anything else of his. Maybe because his books are always like really, really like heartbreakingly sad. I think his books are something I have to be in like the exact right mood for, so maybe that's why I haven't picked up his other stuff yet, but I did really like what I read. Next is Cassandra Clare. I have never read a Cassandra Clare book, but I do own the Infernal Devices trilogy, which I feel like is widely acknowledged to be her best series, so I do intend to get to that at some point. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, or just Taylor Jenkins Reid in general. I have not read that book. I actually think I might not read this one anymore. My friend Kira actually did a really great video talking about that book and another book about some harmful things that book does at the end. I'll link that down below. It's a really wonderful video. And like that just really put me off that book. I had also started hearing like a few more mixed reviews, like overall still very positive, but just some things about that book that made me wonder like maybe this isn't going to be a favorite book for me like it is for everybody else. And then after Kira's video I was like, yeah, I don't think I am going to read this one. I also don't want to read Daisy Jones and the Six because I just have absolutely no interest in books that follow the music industry like whatsoever. I mean, some of her other books kind of interest me, like the concepts for like her earlier ones, like the concepts for her earlier books, some of them sound interesting, so I might still try her in the future. I don't know. Next is Laini Taylor, and I have a very complicated relationship with Laini Taylor's books because I really loved her earlier stuff. Like I still think her Dream Dark books are the most underrated thing that she has written. I think those are so good. They're fairy books that are middle grade / YA. I think they straddle that line really well. And just the world building and the characters and just everything about them is so fun and so well done. Then I also really liked her short story collection, which was I think 3 novellas in Lips Touch. And then I really enjoyed the first 2 books in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. But after that, I have really not liked her other stuff. Like the 3rd book really disappointed me, the 3rd book in that trilogy. And I've actually never reread that trilogy, partly because of that last book. I also really liked Night of Cakekin Puppets, so I guess that's kind of the exception because that was relatively recent. But then I recently read Strange the Dreamer, and I really, really didn't like it. And the thing that has been, I think, changing my mind about her, or that like changing my experience with her books, is I feel like as her books have gone on, like as she's continued to write, I think her actual writing style has gotten more and more like overwrought and unnecessarily flowery and over descriptive, and just a lot of things that I personally don't like in writing. Like I know a lot of people love her writing and say that she's like one of their favorite writers, and I totally get that. Her style just doesn't really align with what I like to read. So I don't know, like I'm not sure if this means I should just like not read any of her new stuff, or if maybe what she writes after Strange the Dreamer will be something I really enjoy. I don't know. But I do really like some of her books. And then next is Illuminate, and I read the first book and loved it. And this is another example of like, I'm satisfied. Like I don't really feel the desire to pick up the other two in the trilogy. This is by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, by the way. And I actually read a series that Amy Kaufman co-wrote with Megan Spooner, which I really enjoyed. It's the, I can't remember what the name of it, Starbound trilogy, I think. These Broken Stars, which I really loved. I know a lot of people hate that book. I loved it. And I don't remember the names of the other two, but I really liked that trilogy. And side note, this is not what we're supposed to be talking about, but Megan Spooner, the other author in that duology, I think is so talented and so underrated. I have really loved the solo books she has written in addition to that trilogy, and it just like, I don't know, it makes me sad that like of the two of them, it's like Amy Kaufman has been like catapulted to the stratosphere because she's writing with Jay Kristoff, who is like super in right now, which like he seems like a nice person. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve that like hype or popularity or anything, but it just makes me kind of sad because it's like, I don't know, I guess that's the way like publishing works, is sometimes you get paired with an author who's like on an upward trajectory, and like your other co-writer doesn't get that. So that just makes me sad. But that's not what we're supposed to be talking about. Next is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I have not read this one, and I think I actually will try it, which is shocking to me because I don't really like dystopian. But I've recently heard some things about it and the specific ways that it explores topics that I think is going to be really interesting. Sarah from A Ray of Reading was one of the ones who like really sold me on this idea, because I think she mentioned there's a character in that book that's kind of like Aiden from Illuminate, and Aiden was my favorite character in Illuminate, so I'm like, that makes me more interested in this book. So I might actually try Scythe, I think. And then next is Sarah J Maas, and I read the first two Throne of Glass books like years and years ago, and I actually like remember enjoying them, but I never continued because at the end of the second one, for one thing, I saw it coming, and also like it just took a turn where I'm like, I don't think I'm interested in this story anymore, like where the story is gonna go. And some other things I've heard about the books, I just don't think they would be for me. I have not read her ACOTAR books, but so this is one of the other weird things about being like in the book blogging world, is like, you know how you end up getting opinions about things you haven't read? So I feel like with the ACOTAR books, I feel like my favorite characters would probably be Nesta and Cassian. Like, I don't know, just like the memes and the like reviews and things that I've seen make me think that I might be interested in them. And I know she's writing a spin-off series about those characters, so I'm like, maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I know that's ridiculous when I haven't read the original series, but like I just feel like I would really enjoy those characters. Next is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I read the first book, was it maybe the year it came out? I was like actually on time with that one, wow. Or at least like very close to it. And I was actually super disappointed in it. But lately I've been kind of getting tempted to reread that series, or reread that book and try the series again, because I feel like now that I know more what I'm getting, and now that I've heard things about the later books, I might like it more. Because I think that was the case of like, I read the synopsis and I kind of like got this idea in my head of like what it was going to be about, and then when it wasn't about that, I was disappointed, which is not really fair on the book. But I also remember not liking the main characters of Laia and Elias. I really didn't enjoy them, so I don't know. I might try that one again though. And then next is Shawna McGuire. I think she's best known for the Wayward Children series, but also for Middle Game she just came out with. I've read the first two Wayward Children books, and I really enjoyed both of them. Book one I really loved, and book two I was like still solid. And I do plan to read every book in the series, but this is kind of another example of like, I almost feel like I've already read them. So not that I'm not gonna read them, but I kind of feel like there's no rush, because I feel like people have been talking about them so much that like, just to make any sense, it's like, I kind of don't feel that like really urgent need to continue the series, because like people have been talking about the books a lot and reviewing them, so I feel like they're still like fresh in my mind, if that makes sense. I don't know. But I'm really excited for the Sugar Sky one and the one that's like Goblin Market inspired. Really excited about those. Not so thrilled that we're getting another book about Jack and Jill, just because I feel like we did their story already. But like I said, I'm probably going to read every book in that series. Next is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I have heard amazing things about this book. I don't plan to read it though. Just like the synopsis doesn't really appeal to me, but I have heard great things about it, and I definitely wouldn't be like opposed to trying another series by this author. And then last is To All the Things I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. So that trilogy, I really enjoyed that series all the way through, and I think part of that is because I actually liked Peter. I know he's trash, like he does some things, especially in the second book, that really piss me off. But but I kind of like him a little bit against my better judgment. I also really like John Ambrose though. I'm like equal opportunity fan. I really like both of them. But yeah, it's like I consistently enjoyed that series. I think that it's a really great one about like the kinds of things that kids go through when they're teenagers and like getting confused about like different relationships and friends and all of this. I also loved the first movie. I haven't watched the second one yet. But yeah, like I just feel like that's a really solid series. I feel like sometimes it gets written off as being like meaningless fluff, and for one thing, there is a place for like fluffy books that make you feel good, but also I think they do deal with a lot of more serious topics, and just because it's in more of a lighthearted way, it doesn't mean that the books don't mean anything. Also, I will defend Lara Jean with my last breath because I see so much hate for her about like how immature she is, and I'm like, she's 16, like let her live. Like all of the things that she does I think are well within the believable limits of like an actual teenager. It just makes me really sad to see people saying she's like immature and annoying or like acting dumb and all of this, because like, I mean, there've definitely been like YA protagonists that I've complained about being those things, but Lara Jean I don't think is one of them. Like I think she just feels like a real kid, like a real teenager. So anyway, that was my little spiel on that. So those are all of them. I feel like I talked for 1,000 years and I got kind of off topic at some points, but I had so much fun doing this. I think this is an absolutely wonderful idea. So thank you, Rachel Marie, for organizing this. And like I said, I will be making my own donation separate to entering this video, which I will be doing based on my book hauls and everything. So keep an eye out for that, where I'll talk about it again probably. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. Let me know if you agree with any of these, especially the more unpopular opinions. I would love to know I'm not alone. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!